Hi everyone, it's Halo 4 Tutor with another Halo 4 gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you my signature tips and tricks to help you start winning more often and having a lot more fun while you're doing it. One of the most popular playlists in Halo 4 multiplayer is, of course, the Big Team Infinity Slayer Big Team Battle, and the most popular map in Big Team Infinity Slayer is Ragnarok. So I decided I'd do a video on this map, and most of the previous videos I've done in this playlist on this map have been from the blue perspective, which I prefer. I tend to have better games on the blue side. I think that they have a slight advantage, at least for my style of gameplay. But I haven't done any videos from the red perspective, so I wanted to do one for you. Keep a close eye out here. I can't see the Banshee on screen, but I see it coming on the radar. I just hold down that right trigger. I'm able to get a Skyjack, a melee attack, and a first strike medal to start the game off. Pretty good start. And I have been able to hijack a lot of vehicles where I kind of see them coming on the radar. Even if I don't see them on the screen, I just hold down that right trigger, or not the right trigger, like the right bumper, and I've been able to skyjack a lot of Banshees who are unsuspecting. Don't think I see them coming, but I use that radar, and as soon as they get too close, I'm able to skyjack them relatively easily. Now, I should have jumped out before I was killed here. I mean, the Banshees in Halo 4 are simply made out of paper mache. They're not very durable, and so once they start to smoke and flame, you're better off just jumping out, in my opinion. You know, if it's a fully healthy Banshee, don't hesitate to jump in and try to do some damage. But once it starts to smoke and flame and things like that, you may want to consider bailing out because they're just not as durable as they used to be in previous games. But they can still be very effective at full strength. Additionally, if you're using the Wheelman loadout, that does help improve the durability of your vehicles very significantly. The Wheelman loadout has actually become one of my favorites. I use it very often when playing Big Team Battle. I mean, it's fantastic in the Banshee. It's fantastic in the mech. It's fantastic. You know, even driving the Warthogs around, it's very helpful. In the tank, it's helpful. Not only does it really increase the durability of your vehicles substantially, but also it reduces the amount of time that your vehicles are stunned. And so that helps quite a bit as well. Anytime you get stunned with a plasma pistol, usually your vehicles recover extremely quickly and you're able to escape oftentimes before your opponents have an opportunity to hijack you or, you know, stick you with a plasma grenade or something like that. In this particular game, I'm loading out with the active camouflage and the DMR here, as well as the AA efficiency and ammo. I really like this combination. It's kind of my go-to on the big team maps. I know a lot of people don't like it. They think it's kind of a cheap loadout, and you know, they think it's a lot of people just don't like it. But I find it to be extremely effective, and so I use it frequently. You know, that active camouflage is great on these big maps, where you can kind of stay hidden as best as possible. Meanwhile, you have pinpoint accuracy with your DMR there. You can get really long-range shots on any big map. And that AA efficiency helps you recharge your active camouflage quickly. Now here I'm not paying enough attention. I'm going to poke my head out one too many times. I'm just asking for a binary rifle to the face here, and I get it. I thought maybe that active camo was cloaking me a little bit better than it actually was. The trick with the red spawn is that it's difficult to gain control or maintain control of that down Pelican over there. That Pelican is really a very powerful position, and it's very difficult to really put pressure on that position from anywhere on the red side. Really the best way to so lousy grenade throwing there. The best way to push the Pelican, well, it's difficult to push the Pelican, let me just say that. From the red side, it's difficult to push the Pelican because they're able to fall back very easily behind the Pelican, and it's difficult to get there. Additionally, if you know you do want to push the Pelican, you have to cross a lot of empty open area where you have no cover, and that can be very difficult as well. Here I'm able to stun this ghost, and he foolishly jumps out. Fortunately for me, he jumps out because I didn't have anything to stick him with. I was out of grenades, but he just jumps out, and I'm able to kill him. I'm going to come into the base here and drop down my saw, and I'm going to use the saw throughout a large portion of the game here. The saw is just quickly becoming, you know, one of my favorite weapons, always has been, but I'm beginning to like it more and more as I've continued to master this burst shooting method with the saw. This burst shot just works extremely well. It just melts your enemy's shields so quickly. It's absolutely ludicrous. And if you have the dexterity loadout, the saw can recharge or basically reload very quickly. So that can be a very helpful loadout when you're using the saw as well. I don't think I have that here, but in this case, it's not going to be terribly urgent to reload quickly. And the other thing I've found with the burst shooting method is you don't have to reload quite as often. You know, you can get 2, 3, 4 kills out of a single load. Look at it, just using this burst shooting, take down that ghost, no problem at all, very quickly. And I'm able to fall back to cover and easily take that extra time to reload. Now, with the red strategy, what I do recommend doing is controlling the center hill here, because of course from the center hill you can look down on the blue side of the map. You have excellent visibility, and you can get a lot of open shots from the top of the hill. The trouble is there's not a ton of cover at the top of the hill, so you do need to make use of whatever cover is available. You can see here I'm choosing not to go to the crest of the hill. I'm kind of poking around the side. The trouble with this is it's somewhat exposed to the pelican, so I'm using the trees for cover as best as I can. So the trees can give you some cover from the pelican. Additionally, the trees can give you cover from the blue spawn, the blue base area. So you want to use the trees for cover as best as you can. Also, there's a rock kind of up at the crest of the hill towards the left-hand side somewhat. You want to use that rock for cover as best as you can. You can see it right there in the screen. So don't just stand up at the top of the hill looking down into the blue base, because I guarantee you're going to get sniped or shot. It's a very exposed area at the crest of the hill, and you don't want to just stand up here. You want to kind of fall back behind the hill a little bit, or use kind of the rocks and the trees for cover. So I've got a frenzy here. Pretty good start to the game. Not doing too bad. Again, just trying to control the top of the hill with this saw, because it's most efficient kind of at medium range, as you can see. And it's a good, you know, with my camouflage and with the saw, I have been able to control the top middle of the map, which is a really critical area. So I'm doing my best just to do that. But again, not exposing my head to any headshots up at the crest of the hill. I don't want to get sniped or anything like that. Now, I probably should have called down this ordnance and shared it with a teammate. You know, that really is the best idea. If you have a power weapon already and you have an ordnance prepared to drop, you don't want to waste that ordnance. The best thing to do is call it down and share it with a friend, a teammate. You know, let them use that power weapon, and then you can continue to accrue a new ordnance. Because as long as I'm sitting here on this ordnance, I'm not going to get a new one. And the trouble with that is that you know, I probably could have earned a whole new ordnance by this time, because I scored a lot of points since I actually earned that ordnance. And then the trouble here is I actually do finally call it down, and then I promptly get killed. And so, I mean, it really is like a catch-22. You know, I finally bothered to call down that beam rifle, and then I'm just killed anyway. So I should have called it down in the first place, and by now I would have had, you know, a whole other ordnance ready for me. So I come back here trying to recover my power weapons here, but somebody else on my team has already grabbed that beam rifle. That's fine. My saw's still there, and that's really my weapon of choice anyway. So I'm going to keep working with the saw and continue to get several kills. So I want to make sure I've covered all my strategies for the red side here. You know, make sure that you're controlling the top of the hill as best as possible here. That's absolutely critical. Use the cover as best as you can. You know, watch out for the pelican, because the pelican can be really the best position for the blue players, and the pelican can really do some damage to anybody who is up here on this hill. The pelican has excellent visibility onto this hill and the open area that approaches the hill. So you don't want to allow the blue team to control that pelican. You got to be careful to make sure that you don't let them control the pelican, whatever you do. That's absolutely critical. I haven't really touched too much on vehicles in this particular game because I didn't really use them significantly, but make sure to play smart with the vehicles, because the vehicles can really swing the balance of power in this game, especially the mech unit and the banshees can be very powerful, very devastating. So you want to make sure to use them very wisely. Don't jeopardize those vehicles. Don't be overly aggressive with the vehicles and put them in a situation where they can be easily destroyed. Find areas where you can kind of protect your vehicles and still kind of poke out and get kills when necessary, or take down overly aggressive opponents. But don't be overly aggressive yourself when it comes to the vehicles on this map, because if you do, the vehicles are going to be destroyed pretty quickly, and it's really going to end up being a waste of time. Now here I'm controlling the Pelican, but this can be a very dangerous position because you are really exposed to a lot of areas on the blue side of the map. So you got to be careful about pushing all the way up to the Pelican if you're on the red team, because that could be a dangerous play there. Well, I hope I was able to give you at least a few tips and tricks, a few ideas for how to approach this game type on this map from the red side. Please leave some comments. Let me know if you thought the video was helpful and what I could do to improve. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Add the video to your favorites. Share it with your friends. This is Halo 4 Tutor signing out. I'll see you next time.
Oh, this is Halo 5 Tutor with another Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you the tips and tricks that you need to step up your game and take it to the next level. I'll help you win more often and have more fun while you're doing it. So I've been getting some requests for Team Slayer, so that's what I'm bringing you here. And normally I try to bring you some of my very best gameplay so that I can give you some good examples of what to do. But in this case, I'm doing something a little different. In this game, we only won the game by 2 points, so final score was 50-48. And ironically, my kill-death spread was also 2, so I had 2 kills more than deaths. And so that was the difference in the game. And it got me to realize how if I had had like 1 less kill and 1 more death, then we probably would have lost the game. It was that slim of a margin. And so sometimes it's the small and simple things throughout the course of the game that are going to ultimately lead you to a victory or a defeat. So I wanted to focus today on just some of the smaller, more subtle things that I'm doing and how they might have led to just 1 more kill or 1 less death that made a difference in the game. So I'm going to start by pointing out my weapon selection here. I've got the Magnum pistol, which I'm personally just not very effective with. It's an excellent weapon. A lot of people are very effective with it, but I'm not. And so I go off in search of a different weapon. There's usually 2 weapons that spawn right here in the base, but they're not there. So I'm stuck with the Magnum, and you can see that I'm not very effective with the Magnum here. I'm trying to put some shots onto the rocket spawn, but I'm just really not able to land much. I do know, however, that there's a battle rifle spawns right around the corner here, so I go for that. I'm able to pick it up, and you'll see that it pays off right away. I'm able to get 2 perfect kills in a row right here. Get a perfect kill there, and in just a moment I'm going to get a second one. So my tip is to figure out which weapons you're most comfortable with, figure out where those weapons are, and make sure to pick those up as soon as possible. It goes for kind of the standard weapons like the DMR, the battle rifle, as well as the power weapons. Know which power weapons you're more comfortable with. Like on this map, they've got the rockets and the sniper. And if there's one that you're more particularly comfortable with, make sure to go for that one. So I'm staying up top, and you're going to see that this is going to pay off as well, because this blue player comes out below me. I get 2 or 3 shots into him. He jumps down, so I drop down another level, and I'm able to finish up the kills as he's down on the ground level. So you can see that by starting up at the highest elevation, I had a really nice advantage. I put a couple shots into him. Then when he dropped down, I was able to drop down, but still maintain an elevation advantage and get that extra kill. So I've got the rockets. I'm just protecting our base a little bit here, hoping that I can get somebody to kind of rush in cavalierly, but that doesn't happen. So I see that the sniper is going to spawn, so I'm hoping I can get a kill camping the sniper spawn with the rockets. I do get the 1 kill, which is nice. We trade basically. Unfortunately, I left him 1 shell, so that's something to keep in mind going back out into it, that there's still 1 rocket shell left. In fact, I see him coming in with my rockets, and so that's why I tried to maneuver around the rockets there to no avail, unfortunately. So as I'm respawning, I always want to pay attention to where I respawn, and I want to have an idea of where I want to go, gain an understanding of my surroundings quickly. I'm able to do that in this case, get a kill. That guy had no idea what his surroundings were. I was able to pick up a really easy kill. So, again, trying to head back to the middle. Anytime my shields are fully down, I always drop back and let them recharge, especially if I know that I'm relatively safe. And I like to try to control this top center area. I can put some shots into the rocket spawn, which is nice. And even though I die, I was able to keep the other team off the rocket spawn, which bought us a little bit of time. And you'll notice as soon as I respawn, I realize that I've respawned near those rockets. And they're still there, so I rush for them quickly. I know that the other team's going to be pushing for them as well, and so I immediately head over to this side as soon as I grab the weapon and clean off the other side so that the enemy can't push up. Now, I've got 2 shells left. That's something I always keep in mind. And here I see the red X, so immediately I know that there's an opponent in the neighborhood. I just waited for him to come around the corner, and I was able to finish up with that last rocket kill. So I'm always aware of when I need to reload. That's something that I'm always keeping an eye on. I don't tend to reload if I'm in the middle of it, like if I'm engaged in something. But if I have a chance to fall back, I'll usually take that opportunity to reload if I'm kind of in the middle of things. Here, this was a little risky move. I thought I could probably pick up a cross-map rocket. I did. That finished off my rocket shells, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get this guy up top. He fell back. I didn't want to chase him down there because I feel like chasing to a lower level, if you don't know what you're getting into, is usually a bad idea. Most of my team was over here in this side of the base, and so I was moving over to support my teammates, but they all died. You can see there's red X's all over the screen. Anytime I see that, I try to hang tight. I didn't really know where a safe place to retreat would be, so unfortunately they eventually hunt me down. But anytime I see a lot of red X's on the screen, I try to sit tight for 3 or 4 seconds just to give my teammates enough time to get back in the game. Now here I have an engagement where honestly it doesn't go well. There's a blue player in this base. We're in a one-on-one situation. I've got this assault rifle and my magnum, which are, like I've mentioned before, not really my preferred weapons. And so I felt kind of trapped here. And I was trying to stay off the radar. I thought that he might chase me down, and at least if he chased me, I'd have a bit of an advantage, but that wasn't the case. So as we're winding down here, I do want to remind you again that this wasn't necessarily the most extravagant gameplay I've ever had, but a lot of times it's just a couple smaller, simple things. Picking up one extra kill, preventing that one extra death are going to make the difference between life and death. One of the things that I've become much more comfortable with is navigating through the maps. And this map's a lot of fun because there's a lot of great jumps that you can make. And so I guess the tip I would give you is to be very, very comfortable with the maps if you haven't got there yet. You want to get in there. Sometimes maybe it's a good idea to go in just when it's just yourself. Go into a custom game and explore the map, figure out how you can jump from one ledge to another, because with the climbing motion and kind of the jetpack motion, the bursting motion, there's a lot of different jumps that you can make and a lot of different angles you can get on the map that really help you move around quickly, and sometimes that extra second or two can make all the difference between an escape or assisting your teammate, so on and so forth. Here I am up top, just trying to support my teammate who has the sniper rifle. Unfortunately, I think I take some fire across map here, but when I respawn, I think this is where I go for the rockets, if I'm not mistaken. So I respawn on the rocket side at the very least, and I'm just trying to, I see that it's a very tight game, so I'm trying to not make any major mistakes. Unfortunately, I lose that encounter there. So going into the final seconds here, I knew it was very, very tight, and I wanted to play it safe. I didn't want to give the team any unnecessary points. I did see that the rockets had been pulled, so I'm trying to figure out where the person who had the rockets went, and I saw that they were down here. I was able to clean them up, pick them up off the opponent, and I realized that there's no room for error here. I have to get this one. I'm able to wrap it up for the win. So again, narrow margin of victory, not the best gameplay ever, but I did do a couple things that was just enough to get our team to win. Oh, this is Halo 5 Tutor with another Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you the tips and tricks that you need to step up your game and take it to the next level. I'll help you win more games and have more fun while you're doing it. Now, the very first video that I made for Halo 5, I focused on some of the general tips and tricks and strategies that I've learned as I've played Halo over the past several years. Things like working together as a team, controlling the power weapons, controlling the map, different things like that. So if you haven't seen the video, go back and check it out. If you have seen it, this video I want to focus a little bit more specifically on Halo 5, just give you some of my impressions, tell you what I think about it, what are some of the subtleties I've noticed, and how can you use the differences in this game to your advantage as you're playing in the multiplayer arena. So the first thing I want to say is that I really like the Halo 5 multiplayer so far. It's a small sample, I've only been playing for a couple days, maybe 20 games. But I really like it a lot. It reminds me of, honestly, the Halo 3 days, which were my very favorite. That's when I started playing Halo, and I feel like it has never been duplicated ever since. I've enjoyed all the other games. I've played them all extensively. But, you know, with Halo 3, it felt very simple. You had to compete with your opponents for the power weapons. You had to compete for the power-ups like the overshield and the active camouflage and different things like that. And so it was all very skill-based, right? So the players with the best skill got the advantages in the game. But in the more recent Halo games, they had all the different loadouts like armor lock and jetpack and the ordnance drops. And so everybody on the map had power weapons and all these powerful abilities. And it just turned the game into kind of this fiesta where everybody's just overpowered and everybody and their mother has a power weapon or a powerful ability. And so it was a little crazy. And I felt like it took some of the competitive nature out of the matchmaking. And I feel like Halo 5 has returned to their roots a little bit here. I feel like they've kind of streamed it down. They've peeled away kind of those armor abilities. You don't have the ordnance drops anymore, so it's back to kind of the fundamentals where you have to compete with your opponents to gain an advantage. And so I think that the tips and tricks that I'm going to be able to share with you in this video and in future videos are going to be more important than ever, because you're not going to have the benefit of ordnance drops and armor abilities to bail you out all the time. So with that being said, I want to talk about a couple of things specifically that I've noticed in Halo 5 here. The first being the automatic weapons have become much more powerful than they ever have in previous Halo games. It used to be that the automatic weapons were practically useless. In several videos, I recall recommending switching those automatic weapons out for precision weapon the first opportunity you get. Find a DMR, find a battle rifle, even a pistol is better than, you know, that assault rifle or some other automatic weapon. But that's not the case anymore. The assault rifle has returned to its full glory. It is a very, very powerful weapon. And so you're going to see people using the assault rifle much more extensively than you have in the past. And if you're in the habit of ditching that automatic weapon for a precision weapon, just doing it habitually, you may want to think twice about the situation, about the map, about the style of the game that you're playing, and decide really if you want to go with an automatic weapon or a precision weapon, because it used to be there was really no question. You just found a precision weapon and that's all there was to it. But now you may find that the automatic weapons in some situations, depending on your game style, your playing style, and the situation, you may find that those automatic weapons are a better choice for you. So give them a shot. And the tip I'll give you with the automatic weapons is, because they're automatic, it's tempting to just squeeze and hold on the trigger, which that's a mistake. You don't want to do that. You still want to pulse that trigger with 3 or 4 or 5 quick shots in a pulsing motion. What that will do is that will dramatically increase your accuracy and increase the range that you have with your automatic weapons. So you'll be really surprised how effective they can be at medium range if you use that pulsing ability rather than just the squeeze and hold. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing that I've noticed is in previous Halo games, not all of them, but the more recent ones, you know, you couldn't pick up grenades off the ground unless you had like a grenadier ability, which
was kind of rare, relatively rare. You could use, you didn't always have it. But here, you can pick up grenades all the time. And so you want to be really liberal with your grenades. You want to be chucking those bad boys at every opportunity. Anytime you see an area where you feel like the opponents are kind of hanging out, or they're trying to establish kind of a, what do you call it, like a protective area, like they're trying to hold down a certain area, throw those grenades up in there. Don't, because you're just you pick them up faster than you can use them. That's one thing I noticed. I mean, you just pick up the grenades as fast as you can use them. So throw them at will, right? The other thing that I've noticed is, so there's some new abilities that I'm still trying to get the hang of, and I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, but there's kind of this like little jet boost maneuver that you can use, which will boost you forward slightly. And on complete accident, I boosted forward and melee attacked an opponent, and it gave me kind of this special kill. I'm not really sure what it was called. So you can use it in conjunction with the melee attack to do kind of this bursting jet power shot towards your opponents and kill them, which is very effective. I'm still trying to master that move, but I have done it, and it's very effective and pretty cool, and it's a new feature. So that's something that you can try. The other thing is that when you're doing a lot of jumps, this jet maneuver can help you jump over larger gaps that you normally could not make otherwise. So if you're looking at kind of a longer jump, go ahead and take that jump and then use your jet ability to get a little bit extra distance so that you can complete the jump. And the other thing that I've noticed that's new to Halo 5, and I really like this actually, is that there's kind of this like climbing motion that they've created. So if you're jumping up towards a ledge but you're not going to quite make that ledge, if you hit the jump button again while you're in the air, your Spartan will kind of grab onto the ledge and hop up. So if there's a ledge that you can't quite jump on with the traditional jumping motion, go ahead and jump up to the ledge and then hit the jump button again, and your Spartan will kind of climb up onto the ledge. And if you use kind of this climbing motion in conjunction with the jetpack, there's some really, really great maneuvers that you can make throughout the game. So that's something to keep in mind as well as you're maneuvering throughout the maps. You have a lot more maneuverability than you have in the past. So that's something that's different. The other thing you'll see here in the video, I just picked up an overshield. So again, with Halo 5, you have to compete for those power weapons, and you have to compete for the power-ups. You can't just wait for an ordnance drop to come down and save the day. It's not going to happen. You have to go out and you have to find out where are the power weapons, where are the power-ups, what time are they going to come up, and you need to control those throughout the game. That's going to give you a really critical advantage. So here the game's about over. I know I've only given you a few tips, but I've got a lot more videos on the way. Please make sure to leave some comments. Let me know what you like about the videos, what you'd like to see in future videos. I'd love to hear your feedback. This particular video wasn't flashy, but I got 11 kills, 5 deaths. That's how you win a lot of games, folks, by getting twice as many kills as you do deaths. Thanks for watching. This is Halo 4 Tutor, or Halo 5 Tutor now. Halo 5 Tutor signing out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Oh, this is Halo 5 Tutor with another Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you the tips and tricks that you need to step up your game and take it to the next level. I'll help you win more often and have more fun while you're doing it. Now, Warzone is a very popular variant in Halo 5, so I wanted to show you a Warzone gameplay. Now, unfortunately, when I jump into the theater, it doesn't bring me straight to my own gamer tag. It makes me cycle through all these different Spartans, so that's why you see me searching frantically to find my own Spartan. So here I am. They've dumped us in the base, and the first thing you need to do in Warzone is clear out your own team's base. Usually there's just a few enemies, not anything too difficult. In this case, a few Prometheans. So you clear them out, and then you want to capture the base. Now, in your base, there's a core which you need to defend, which is right behind me here. And in front, this is a requisition terminal where you can pick up weapons, vehicles, or other things. Unfortunately, in the theater mode, you can't see me making the selection. It's hidden in the theater, but in game, it pulls up a panel where you can choose from all the different weapons that are available. And Early on in the game, you don't really have access to a lot, but as the game progresses, you get access to more and more powerful things, leading up to like scorpions and wraiths and banshees and sniper rifles and all kinds of great stuff. So here I am in the armory, which is just a little bit further out. The base is kind of on the edge of the map. The armory is a little further, and then in the center of the map is the fortress. Now the fortress is the real critical area of the game, because that's where most of the action is going to take place in between the two teams. So the team that occupies the most buildings at the same time is the team that's going to accrue more points. The first team to 1,000 points wins. Now I want to emphasize, and this is really important, if I don't teach you anything else in this video, I want to teach you this. It's super, super important to be the first team to capture the fortress when you're playing in Warzone, because it's very, well, I'm not going to say it's easy to capture the fortress, but it's much, much easier to capture it initially than to recapture it from your opponents. Once your opponents are locked in there, it's very, very difficult to get it back. The reason being is, in order to clear it out and to recapture it, you need to kill all the enemies that are inside the building, and you need to sit on it for a period of time while it captures. That's very, very difficult to do because it's a very large building, so to get all throughout the building and find and hunt down every enemy that's in every nook and cranny and kill them all, meanwhile more forces continue to pour in, is very difficult to do. So it is super important that you're the first team to capture the fortress. Now, if you don't capture the fortress, there's still some of these side missions that you can participate in, and it doesn't matter if you capture the fortress or not. You can still participate in these side missions, but especially if you have not captured the fortress, this is a good idea. This is an excellent alternative for scoring points. So in this case, I'm over here in this area hunting this elite and a couple of grunts. The opponents start out pretty easy early on. I could handle this little cluster on my own without too much difficulty. Later on, they get much, much more powerful, much more difficult to handle. They have bigger weapons, they have better armor, they kind of come in larger groups, sometimes they have vehicles. So as the game progresses, it gets more and more difficult. But the great thing is if your team is not scoring enough points by occupying the different buildings on the map, you can go out and complete these side missions and score a lot of points that way. And that's a great way to either catch up if you've fallen behind, or really seal the victory if you're ahead. So that's something that I really focused on throughout this game, especially because my team didn't really have a very good hold on the fortress, and so I felt like I could either continue to lose my life over and over and over again by trying to rush the fortress, or I could go out and complete some side missions and actually still score some points. So that's what I spent a lot of my time doing. If your team has captured the fortress, it's generally a good idea to keep a strong number of teammates in there, kind of keep it as a stronghold, and maybe send a few out on alternative missions. Maybe if your teammates die and they respawn outside of the fortress, they can go and complete some of those side missions. But generally speaking, you want to have a pretty solid group inside the fortress holding it down if you've already captured it, because that can be a huge, huge advantage. Now, another thing that's new to the Warzone game type is these REQs, requisitions. And basically they're different weapons or vehicles or power-ups that you have access to throughout the game. Now you obtain these, it's a little complicated, you obtain these like in between the game. You open up packs that give you access to these requisitions. So you can, like, for example, get like open packs that have sniper rifles and mongooses and rocket launchers, and then next time you go in and actually play in Warzone, you have access to that inventory. So in the Warzone game, everybody has a completely different inventory based on which requisitions they got in between games. So in between games, you can go and open more packs and kind of build up your inventory, and then when you actually go play in the game, you use it up, and it's kind of like this cycle. Now, in order to get additional requisitions, you either have to pay real money to get them, or there's kind of an in-game currency. You get extra like credits in the game just for playing, and that gives you access to a lot of requisitions. In my opinion, you earn as many free requisitions as you're ever going to need. So I really would say, unless you just have money to burn, I wouldn't really spend money on the requisitions. But that is an option if that's something you want to do. Now I'm going to make a future video that shows you a little bit more about the in-between game process of opening the requisitions, purchasing requisitions, and how all that works. Because I know it can be kind of convoluted if I'm not showing it here in the video. So I'm not going to get too in-depth in that until I can actually show you in a future video. But in this case, for example, I chose to load out with this ghost. I chose that because it's a large map. I can get around quickly and hopefully get out and maybe complete some side quests or splatter a couple of opponents. So I could have maybe chosen between this and a mongoose and a warthog and a sniper rifle. And so I kind of had a few different choices which I could choose from. So I will point out 1,000 points will win the game, but there is an alternative way to win, which is to destroy your opponent's core, which is in their base. And of course, if your opponents destroy your core, you're going to lose. The trouble is, though, you can't gain access to their core unless you capture all the buildings. So if you capture the fortress and then you go capture their armory, then you have access to their base and you can control their core. The truth is if you're behind on the scorecard, that means you probably are not controlling the map, you're not controlling all those buildings. So if you're already behind by not controlling the buildings, not controlling the map, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to be able to push through, capture all those, and destroy your opponent's core in their base. I mean, I'm not to say it's impossible, but if you're already behind on the score, then it's probably not likely that you're going to be in a position to destroy their core, which is, you have to go through all the progressions. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, the poll question that I wanted to throw out to everybody today is I wanted you to list the different Halo games and which ones were your favorite, your most favorite to least favorite. Right, so I'm going to start with mine, and I really would have to say, and again, it's a small sample size, but I would say Halo 5 is my most favorite Halo game that I've played. I really like Halo 5 a lot. Probably next up, I would go with Halo 3 and or ODST. I mean, the multiplayer was the same, which is the bulk of what I play. So Halo 3 and ODST kind of together. I actually really liked both the campaigns on Halo 3 and ODST a lot. I played them really extensively, and the firefight in ODST I really enjoyed. I'll go with Reach next, and then Halo 4 last. So those are all the games I played. I also played the Halo 1 Anniversary Edition. I won't really count that. But so Halo 5, Halo 3, ODST, Halo Reach, then Halo 4. So that's my order. So down in the comment section below, let me know what your order is. Which games did you like the most to least? And maybe what were some of your favorite game types or different playlists that you had available in those? Then what made it your favorite, I guess. Let's see. The next thing I want to get into really quickly is just telling you a little bit more about me. A lot of you have been subscribed for a long time, and I get all kinds of questions about where I've been and what I've been up to and how I'm doing. And I feel honored that there's so many people out there that even care. I really, really appreciate it. I will say that a couple years ago, right after I stopped making videos, my wife and I separated, and I won't get into too many details, but I will just say that it was a very, very positive thing to happen to me. It was not a healthy relationship. It was not a good situation for me, and so the separation was very, very positive for me. And I would just advocate, if I can just take 1 minute to say, if you have any relationships in your life that are unhealthy, that are destructive, that are not improving the quality of your life, and heaven forbid are abusive in any way, you're anybody listening to the sound of my voice does not have to deal with that situation. I mean, they don't have to stay in that situation. I mean, it is something that you can get help with. Whatever is going on, you don't need to accept being in an unhealthy relationship. I was in one myself. It was a really dark place. It was a really dark time. And I'm just here to tell you that things can improve. And I know that my situation is unique. I'm sure everyone else's situation is unique. And I know a lot of you have a lot of great, healthy relationships, and it's not a problem. Whether it's family members, spouses, girlfriends, regular friends, maybe somebody at school or work. All I'm trying to say is not all relationships are healthy. And if they're unhealthy relationships, there's something you can do about it. You don't have to feel trapped. There's people you can go to, there's people you can talk to, there's help you can get, there's alternatives to life, because life is just too short to get stuck in a really bad situation with somebody who doesn't make you a better person. So that's all I'm going to really say about that. Now, I will point out, in the past, I've done things like open game nights, I've done live commentaries, I've done a lot of different things, and I want to continue to do all those, which I'm kind of gearing up towards them. It's kind of one day at a time here. The game just came out, so I'm still getting back into the flow of things. But one of the things I want to do very soon is an open game night, which is where you can come and play with me and my friends. We have a great time. I might be able to live stream that gameplay so that you can be on YouTube, which would be a great opportunity for you if you want to see yourself online. So keep your eye out. Make sure you've subscribed and you're checking back to my channel every day so that you'll get the notification when those live gameplays, those open game nights will come up, because those will be really cool events. Also, I'm hoping to partner up with a few other people so I can share some of their gameplays. Certainly, I'm not a pro player. My style isn't very flashy, and so I might be using some other people's gameplays in the near future. So if you have any really excellent games, make sure you save those. I'm not sure. I'm not going to ask for them yet, but if you have any really incredible clips, highlights, gameplays, make sure that you save them in your theater so that you can go back and share them later on if I'm ever, if it ever meets the criteria of what I'm asking for. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Well, here I am. I've loaded out with the Wraith. We're getting towards the end of the game. Unfortunately, my team is hopelessly behind, but I was able to contribute quite a bit throughout the gameplay by completing some side missions, by trying to push into the enemy fortress as best as I could. Here I'm going to kind of go on a suicide mission and destroy the opponent's Scorpion, which I'm able to successfully destroy their Scorpion, but the game's over and it's too late. So I want to thank y'all for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share your ideas, answer the poll question. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Halo 5 Tutor signing out. I'll see you next time.
Oh, this is Halo 5 Tutor with another Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you the tips and tricks that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll help you win more often and have more fun while you're doing it. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to be here. For those of you who are old fans and friends, welcome back. I'm glad to be here. It's good to see you again. Halo 5 is here, and I'm ready to rock and roll. For those of you who don't know me, I've been making Halo videos all the way back since Halo 3 when I started playing. So I made Halo 3 videos, ODST, Reach, 4, and now 5. So I've been playing for a long time. I'm not a pro player. I'm a casual player, but I try to play smart. I try to use tactics and strategies that anyone can use regardless of your skill level. And those are the types of tips and tricks that I bring to the table to help everyday players win more often and have more fun. So you'll see I'm able to pick up the sniper rifle right off the bat. I get a nice snapshot kill and then a cross map kill with some team shooting for a double right off the bat. Now, that's one of the most important things that I'm going to start with, and again, I'm going to stick to basic tips here. I'm not going to get too advanced because a lot of you are new or just trying to get a refresher. But one of the first things you want to do when you start in any game is you want to go for those power weapons, because the team that controls the power weapons throughout the game is going to have a massive advantage. So when the game starts, you want to rush for those power weapons right away, generally with your team. Now, if you lose the power weapons at some point, like I did, I lost the sniper right here, you want to go back, you want to avenge your death, you want to work with your teammates and reclaim those power weapons. That's so important. Now that I have the sniper, I'm looking for a good spot on the map to use it. So I'm not familiar with this map, so I just tried to find an area with some nice open lines of sight where I was up as high as I thought I could get. And so this was the position that I chose. And that's something that you want to keep in mind with every game. It's important to control the weapons, and it's also important to physically control the map. So generally speaking, it's better to control elevated locations. So you want to be up higher on the map if at all possible. There's a lot of reasons for that. Number one is if you're up higher than your opponents, they're shooting at your feet and you're shooting at their head. So you can get much more effective shots in at that angle if you're up higher. Another thing is it's much more difficult to get ambushed if you're up above your opponents. They usually have to climb up or fly up or whatever they got to do. It's much more difficult for them to ambush you. Whereas if you're up above them, you can just drop down easily and ambush your opponents. So that's another important thing. Also, when it comes to map control, every map is different. So you want to kind of get a feel for each map, and that comes with time. You know, eventually you get a feel for what are the different areas of the map, where are the weapons located, what are the escape routes, what are the quickest ways to cross the map and help a teammate. And so I would recommend, you know, once you get in there, of course, once you first get the game, you want to play, you just want to get some games in and have some fun, which is fantastic. That's exactly what I did. However, when you get a chance, go in by yourself and explore the maps. Try to figure out what the different maps, how the maps are laid out, where the weapons are located, where, you know, how you can get across the map to help out a friend, whatever the case is. Because eventually you want to get to the point where you realize, hey, I can strafe to the left here, I can jump backwards, I can strafe to the right. If I move off this ledge, I'm not going to fall off the map, right? So you want to become very familiar with the map so that you can move around naturally without even really looking where you're going. Eventually that's where you want to get to. What are some of the other tips? Okay, teamwork. That's so critical in Halo. Teamwork has always been. This is not like a run and gun game where you just run out there and take on the entire team all by yourself. Now, I've noticed in this game especially, much more so than in previous Halo games, you can die very, very fast. Your shields and your health can become depleted very quickly, and you know you can get killed before you even turn around and figure out who's shooting you. So it's very important to travel with your teammates. Now, certainly it's ideal if you have friends, you're communicating through the headset, you're talking about what's going on in the game. But even if you aren't doing that, you still want to stick close to your teammates. So you'll see their tags spread out throughout the map. You want to head for those tags, you want to try to back them up. You want to try to move as a pack, at least move in pairs. And the last thing you want to do is jump in a giant hole in the middle of the map. I do that at least 2 or 3 times here. You'll see I'm completely unfamiliar with this map, and I jump right into this giant cavernous pit a couple times, totally on accident, not realizing what I'm doing. So again, that's just me being brand new and not knowing what the heck I'm doing. So there I go again. But again, you want to, so let's see what I've reviewed here. You want to control the power weapons, you want to control the map, you want to be familiar with the map, you want to try to work together with your teammates. So again, keep an eye on the tags. If the tags turn yellow, then your teammates are shooting. If their tags turn orange, then your teammates are being shot at. So you can kind of get a feel for what's going on in the map just by watching your teammates tag. Obviously, if you see the big red X, you know a teammate has been killed in that area, which may mean they got ambushed and they were outnumbered, or it may mean they were able to get a bunch of shots on an opponent before they went down. So if you have a chance from across the map, if you see that red X go down, it's always a good idea to try to get in just a couple shots on your opponents, because a lot of times if your teammate went down, he's able to put a few shots on the opponents before he went down, and you can clean up the kill. Another thing, when your shields go down like that, just try to fall back briefly. Don't go out there in the heat of battle when your shields go down. You can see I'm just using grenades very, very liberally. As I recall, in Halo 4, you weren't able to pick up grenades off the ground unless you had a special ability. But here, you can pick up grenades, and they're everywhere. Every time people die, they leave grenades. So you want to be very, very liberal with those grenades. Even if you don't see the opponent that you're throwing them at, just just throw them out there. In this game alone, I got a couple cross-map grenade kills that, you could call them luck, but they weren't luck because I was strategically throwing grenades and being very liberal with those. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Let's see what else do I want to go over here. We've got teamwork, we've got controlling the map, we've got controlling the weapons. I will be going into a lot more detail with a lot more information in my future videos. Another thing I'll point out is right as you start up the game, you may want to go into the settings. You can change things like your gamer tag, that tag that's up above your head. Change it to something that people can communicate easily in the game. Another thing, there's a lot of layouts for the controller, so find a layout that works for you. I like the Recon layout because it's most similar to what I learned way back in Halo 3, so I've been using Recon ever since. I like the Recon layout, but you may like something else. So go back and find a button layout that works for you. Here I'll point out that the crouching behavior still works. If you crouch, you fall off the radar, which allows you to ambush your opponents. That drives a lot of people crazy. They call it camping, but it can be very strategic, especially in this game where you can die very, very quickly. It's very easy to ambush your opponents or to be ambushed. So keep in mind that if you're crouching, you're going to stay off the radar, and of course, it's the other way for your opponents as well. So watch out for that. Here I get sandwiched, get shot from both sides. Nothing I can do about that. Again, that's why it's so important to travel with a team rather than flying solo. You're not going to get stuck in a trap like I did there. But we're able to pull out a win. I think I had a pretty good ratio here. Let's see if it comes up. 14 kills, 7 deaths, so pretty good. Happy about that. Just again, happy to be back. I hope the tips and tricks were helpful. They're very basic, I know, but this is just the first video. I'm going to have many more to come. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Halo 5 Tutor signing out. I'll see you next time. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later.
Oh, this is Halo 5 Tutor with another Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay commentary. As always, I'm bringing you the tips and tricks that you need to step up your game and take it to the next level. I'm going to help you win more often and have more fun while you're doing it. So let's dive right in. I'm playing Slayer game type on the map Fathom. This is with random teammates, random opponents, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I was just starting to get comfortable with this map and kind of with the feel of the game in general. As I came into this particular game, I don't know, I just had a good feeling about it. I was feeling loose, and it turned out to be a pretty good game. I start off things with the first strike medal. You're going to see that in just a second. I just noticed the opponents tended to come straight across to this side of the map. I felt like I was going to have an opportunity to get a kill there, and worked out well. By the end of the game, I think I've got 18 kills and something like 7 deaths, so well over a 2 on my kill-death ratio, so I was happy about that. Anytime I can get above a 2, I'm happy. I wanted to start this video off with a poll question before I get into all my tips and tricks and ideas. I wanted to hear what your thoughts and feelings are about Halo 5 specifically. Certainly if you've played it, even if you haven't, you've watched the videos, what do you think? What do you like about the game if you have played it? What are you looking forward to if you haven't played it yet? What are the tips and ideas that you've come up with so far that are working well for you? What are your favorite game types? I would love to hear these things. And not only me, but there's a lot of people that come to my channel looking for a Halo community, right? They come here, they want to watch the videos, they want to learn about Halo, they want to have fun. And so many of you have these really brilliant ideas. I learned so much from each and every one of you. And just because you don't have a big popular YouTube channel doesn't mean you don't have fantastic things to say. And so I want to hear some of those fantastic things down in the comments below in this video so that all of our viewers can enjoy and appreciate, the ideas that you have and the thoughts and feelings that you've had about the game. And we can all kind of have a Halo community here so that people can come here and share and exchange ideas. So I want you guys to please use the comment section of this video so that everybody can become involved. Now, what I'm doing here is I want to control the top center of the map. and I want to control the power weapons. In this particular game, there's really only one power weapon, which is the railgun, and it spawns right up there at the top. And throughout the bulk of the game, I am able to control the railgun, which gives our team a very strong advantage. I'm not especially good with it, but I do manage to get 5 or 6 kills with that weapon, which is helpful. It has excellent range. It's a one-shot kill. It's very powerful. Just takes a little bit of time to charge up. So you want to kind of anticipate where your opponents are going to be and try to line that shot up at the right time. Takes a little bit of practice, but not too hard. Now, it can be difficult to anticipate the movement of your opponents because I've noticed in Halo 5 that the radar has shrunk dramatically. Much, much smaller than in previous games. The distance between being off the radar and being close enough to beat your opponent down is about a half a second. I mean, it's that fast. You can be off the radar 1 second, and then a half a second later, you're beating down your opponent, or your opponent is beating down you. So it changes the dynamic of the game quite a bit. If you came to rely on your radar in previous Halo franchises, that's not going to be the case here. It's practically useless. I'll be honest with you, it's practically useless. There's been plenty of times when I felt like I was sitting pretty, and then I'm getting assassinated, and nothing came up, and it wasn't somebody camping. It was just somebody sprinted right up to me, used that little extra burst of thrust, and took me out in about a half a second. It can be that fast. So there's a couple tips I want to give you with that in mind. With the radar diameter, with the radius being shrunk down, there's a few things that you can do. Number one, you want to continue to be aware of your surroundings. You can't rely on the radar, so you need to continue to look around, especially if you're staying in one place like I am right here. I'm trying to control the top of the map because I have an excellent vantage point here, lots of good escape routes, the power weapon spawns up there. So I wanted to control that area as much as I could. Because I was doing that, I wanted to continue to look around, check your six, as they say, which means look behind you, continue to spin around, continue to look at all angles if you're staying in one place. Now, the other approach you can take is if you continue to move around, it can be more difficult for somebody to come up behind you if you continue to move around, especially if you're sticking with your teammates. That's why teamwork in this game is more important than ever. Because if you're all out there on your own, somebody can come up behind you, even with the radar, and they can take you down before you even know what hit you. But if you're in a crowd with your teammates, that's practically impossible to do. It's very, very difficult to get ambushed when you're together with your team. So that's something that I was doing throughout this game, is although I was trying to control the top, I was keeping an eye on my teammates' tags throughout the entire game. And anytime I saw a tag color change, I was always looking over in that direction to see if I could lay a couple extra shots in, support my teammates, get some team shots. Here you can see I continue to swivel around. I keep checking every different angle, make sure nobody's coming up behind me. And the other thing that is great about being up high is that, see, you can escape quite easily. Like I was there. I got a couple shots on me. I'm able to fall back very, very easily. If the reverse was true, if I got a couple shots on him while he was down on the ground, it would have been very, very difficult for him to run and hide, because I could have just jumped down and chased him, which isn't always a great idea to chase, but sometimes it works out. So you can see here I am controlling the top. I'm controlling this power weapon. And like I said, I was able to get about 18 kills and 7 deaths, so a pretty nice ratio. And you ought to really have a number in your head that long term, this is the kill-death ratio that you want to have, which, it should at least be above 1. Okay, so we'll start with that. If your kill-death spread isn't above 1, that should be our goal, right? Which means you get as many kills as you do deaths. And every game can be different. Maybe some games you get more than others. But overall, as your average, you need to be averaging at least 1. So that's something to keep in mind. If you feel like you're not averaging 1, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to improve your defense. Because improving offense takes time, takes practice, takes skill. But improving defense can be done very, very quickly. Now we'll go over some defensive ideas in future videos. But if you feel like your kill-death spread is not where you want it to be, maybe consider it's not a problem with your offense. Maybe you can scale back on the or improve the defense and scale back on some of your deaths. That's one idea. There's a check on my score there. I think I'm at 15. What was that? 15-5 or something like that. So here I get a nice strafing motion, nice headshot. Let's see. Before time runs out here, I've got so many things that I wanted to share. Let me think of what else. So I did want to cover the sprinting ability, because things have changed a little bit with the sprinting ability. For starters, it's always on. You can sprint as long as you want to. It never runs out, which I actually really like. I don't think it's overpowered. I just think it gives you the ability to move around the map a little bit better, especially on big maps. So I like the always on sprint ability. Personally, I like it. Now there's a couple caveats. When you're sprinting, your shield will not recharge. So if you feel like you're in a relatively safe area but your shields are down, don't continue sprinting around, because your shield isn't going to come up. And eventually you're going to come around a corner with those shields down and you're going to get one shot in the face. So if your shields are down, find a safe place and quit sprinting. You don't need to stop moving altogether, but if you're sprinting, your shields will not recharge. That's something important to keep in mind. Another thing about sprinting is that when you're being shot, it slows you down and prevents you from sprinting. And so, especially with so many people using the assault rifles, if you're getting shot in the back, so many times I've tried to sprint out of that situation and it doesn't work. So keep that in mind as well. If you're in a high an area where there's a lot of action going on, there's a lot of shooting, you may not be able to run through that situation or run out of that situation. So keep that in mind as you're playing. We're about to wrap up here, so I wanted to thank y'all for watching today. Again, please make sure to leave comments down below. I want everyone to share their ideas about Halo, especially Halo 5, but all the games as they compare and so forth. I want to hear your ideas, what you think, what you like, what you don't like, and I would really appreciate if you would subscribe, give the video a thumb up, share it with your friends, put it on your channel, whatever the case may be. I've got a lot of additional content coming on the way. I'm just still scratching the surface of this game. There's so many things I want to share with you. You don't want to miss a video, so make sure you're subscribed and checking back every day. I'm going to be playing a lot over the weekend, so may have an open game night, which I've had in the past, where you can come and play with me and my friends. We'll play a big open game. It's a lot of fun. So keep your eyes and ears open for that as well. This is Halo 5 Tutor signing out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.